that. Thanks so much for coming out. My name is Janelle Riley. I'm an editor at Variety. I am so thrilled to be here tonight for this Q&A with Blitz. I love this movie so much, and I'm so happy to have people to talk to about it. So please join me in welcoming the people who brought this thrilling, beautiful story to life. I want to start with the actress who plays Rita. She's, of course, a four-time Academy Award nominee and simply one of the best actresses of all time. Please welcome Saoirse Ronan. Also joining us, I like to consider him the next Saoirse Ronan, because they started about the same age. Believe it or not, this is his first feature film. Please welcome Elliott Heffernan. I said it to him when I met him this morning, because we're all thinking it. Oh, I'm so glad you're okay. Finally, we have the Oscar-winning filmmaker behind such great films as 12 Years a Slave, Widows, and Small Axe. Please welcome Steve McQueen. You know, you're not an actor, so it doesn't, if you don't know how to hold a mic, it makes sense. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations on a thrilling movie. I actually popped my head in, but I couldn't find a seat. And it almost gave me like a panic attack, just what was happening on screen. So I was like, wait, no, I can't watch this right now. But it's such a great movie. And usually I like to start at the beginning and ask, you know, what was your first job in the movie industry? The first time you thought you could call yourself an actor? And I think we should start with Elliott, because this is your first movie. Had you done anything before this?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I had done a school play. It was Aladdin, and I was the genie, and that was it.
And then after you shot this movie, I know you did another play.
Yeah.
You want to say what it was?
It was The Greatest Showman, and I was Hugh Jackman. I can't remember his name.
P.T. Barnum?
Yeah.
Saoirse, what about for you?
What was my first job? Well, my first SAG job, I think, was I Could Never Be Your Woman, which was this Amy Heckerling movie. That was the first film that I ever did. The first acting job I had was this Irish series called The Clinic, which was set in a clinic in Dublin. And it was RTE, which is like the Irish BBC. And that was the very first thing that I'd done. And then I did another thing after that with a great Irish director called Thaddeus O'Sullivan. And then I Could Never was after that. And I'm sure some of you have been to see the Hubbards, John and Roz Hubbard, who are brilliant casting agents. And they had done that series, and then they got me in for I Could Never. So, yeah.
Oh, wow. And because you said Atonement was your third movie?
Yeah, that was my third.
So it took
Joe Wright likes to say that he discovered me, but he did not.
Well, let him have it. Steve, for you, when did you've been an artist for, probably since you were born. When did you become a filmmaker?
I walked on the set of Hunger, and that was it.
Your first movie?
I'd never been on a movie set before, that was it,
Wow. What compelled you to start making movies?
I had to, because when I was thinking of doing this, I was thinking of Bobby Sands, I was thinking of the hunger strike, and I thought, because you think of things, okay, this has to be a movie, this has to be a film. And then I sort of wanted to make this movie, and I said, okay, it's got to be a movie, so I have to try and how to get to make a movie. So I pursued certain people who could help me, and that was it. That was the end of it. And the people were so amazing helping me to make the movie. And when I was in Northern Ireland, everyone was extraordinary, and and I just discovered Michael Fassbender and in the Walsh and Lean Cunningham, and we just got on with it. You know, the research of that was pretty amazing too.
I'm so curious because that movie is so revolutionary in so many ways, and people talk about things like this 17-minute take. Did you do things like that because you didn't know any better? No one told you you shouldn't?
I did it because it was the right thing to do. That was it. It just felt right. And you know, again, you have these great artists. You have Lean Cunningham, you have Michael Fassbender, and they're sitting. And I said I wanted it done in one take. They roomed together. They had porridge in the morning. They had this ritual of going through the lines, and then they did it, and they got it. They did it, and I thought, okay, we're going to shoot it. And you know, when you shoot something like that, you understand often. And again, I'm going to say it. And you know, whatever you feel, there's a spiritualization happens sometimes with scenes. And you know God is in the room, and it's oh okay. And then I said that we had it. The third take, the boom guy's arm was going to break. He collapsed. We got it. The third, we got it. I said that's it. And then this producers come to me. Well, you've got to do coverage. And I said, coverage? What's that? And I said, okay. So I started it once. I thought, you know what? No, I'm not doing this. You've got to do coverage. I said, well, no, I don't have to do coverage. We got it. And there was a fight, and I won. That was it. And, you know, when you've got artists, you don't tax artists because artists are artists.
All the actors in the audience.
You know, forgive me. They're special, and you've got to treat them right. And you know, it's just they're gorgeous. And again, as I'm going on, I'm trying to stop myself talking, but there's a level where you see something, you got it. Let's move on.
Yeah.
Don't waste. Don't kill people. Don't tax them.
Well, again, congratulations on a film. It's my favorite kind of film because it is both epic and intimate on so many levels. And I would love to just sort of start with the origins of the story. You know, Steve, for you, did you have a character in mind, a plot, an experience, or just some sort of an image that led to Blitz?
It was a photograph. I was doing the anthology of small acts. I was doing research. I saw this photograph of a small black child boy, you know, just about to be evacuated. A suitcase and a large winter coat and a cap. And he looked so sweet, so beautiful, so innocent. And I just thought I wanted to sort of take. It's almost like I wanted to take care of him. I thought, who is this guy? Where is he going? And I just wanted to. I knew wherever he was going to go, it was going to be trouble. He's going to face a lot of prejudice. And I thought, okay, let's make a movie, start a movie with him in mind. And that was it. And then who's his mother? Who's his father? How did he come to be? Who's his grandfather? What was his circumstances? Blah blah blah. And then it just sort of unravels from there.
Like all of your films, you put together this amazing ensemble. Saoirse, can you sort of talk about how the project came to you? And you're no stranger to playing women ahead of their time, but Rita's something really special.
Yeah, she is. I mean, she's sort of she stemmed from conversations that Steve and I had initially about our own mothers, and in particular my relationship with my mum. She's someone who's, you know, had such an impact on me and who I am, as every mother does on every person, you know, good or bad. Luckily, mine has been incredibly wholesome and rich and has given me so much, and so to finally get the chance to sort of honour that in some way through what I do was just such a blessing, really. And you know, I spoke to Steve a lot in those initial conversations about how my mum was a nanny in New York and she'd take me to work with her, and so I'd have to share her with these other kids, and like I was a part of her working day, and so she was really having to juggle being a mother and also having to, you know, earn a wage for all of us, for the three of us, in a very difficult city, which certainly, you know, wouldn't help anyone that didn't have anything. It was hard. So yeah, it was really kind of inspired by that, I think, and I think when Elliott and I started to spend time together and build that relationship, something else grew. And you know, with the way Steve works and the kind of atmosphere that he creates on set, there is this freedom to roam a little bit, you know. So we had done that work ahead of time. We'd built up whatever this relationship was going to be, and then we just sort of let it fly, and that was incredibly special. Yeah.
And Elliott, for you, how did you sort of find out about this audition or first hear about the open call?
Yeah, so as I said, I just did my school play, and my teacher ran up to my mum and said, "You need to get him into acting now." So my mum saw the open casting for Blitz. I think it was on Facebook, and I did a self-tape. Didn't think much of it, and then I got called back multiple times. I met Steve, and then I met Saoirse, and then eventually I got the part.
And you were 9 at the time, right? 8?
8.
Oh my gosh. So we'll forgive you, but did you know who either of them were? I mean, I don't think
Well,
No.
But I think, was it your sister knew who Saoirse was, or was excited by that?
Yeah, because she had watched Little Women, Saoirse's movies.
and he said to me the other day, I think she watched Hannah as well, and I was like, oh, so did you like these films? And he was like, they were just on in the background. I was used to them being on, but I never really paid attention to them.
I love how honest kids are.
Me too.
I mean, Steve, obviously, you couldn't make this movie without the right George. Were you ever concerned you weren't going to find him? And what was it like when Elliott answered your prayers?
Yes. Yeah, because you know, you write something. Oh, it's not. Oh, who the hell's gonna play the kid? You know, and you do wonder, does George exist? You know, it was a bit nerve-wracking. And then what happened was that with this audition came this tape, as Elliott just said. And as soon as I saw the tape, I just thought, wow. It was just one of those things where he was still.
Yeah.
There was a stillness in him, and you know, it was almost like you wanted to know what he was thinking, or if you didn't know what he was thinking, you wanted to find out what he was thinking. So he had you. You were magnetized by his face. He was like a silent movie star. You know, and I've studied people like Buster Keaton, I've studied people like Harold Lloyd, and I've studied people. You know, again, it's just one of those things that Valentino. You know, you just look and you want to know more. And that was the kid, you know, and there's presence in his absence. I mean, it's incredible. His eyes, he could outstare anybody. He doesn't blink. He doesn't blink. It's like, no, you cry blood before he thinks about blinking. Amazing.
And what was the first time like meeting Steve? Was it scary at all, or? Look, I was scared the first time I met Steve. He's very tall.
I'm just black.
And tall, right? Yeah.
I'm tall now. I'm actually 5'11", but there you go.
That's tall to me, especially in Hollywood.
Moving on.
What did you think of this fella?
I was just like, wow, this is a cool dude. I didn't know who Steve was. I was 8 when I had seen any of his movies.
Who is this crazy adult?
He's a pretty good guy. Can you give me the part?
I was just going to say, you got the part. You can tell us what you really thought. Well, how do you sort of know? I mean, I don't know if working with any actor is unique, but off of an audition like that, and obviously there were many steps, but, you know, do you believe anyone can sort of be taught to act or taught to be right for a role, or you have to see something in them?
I don't believe you could be taught to be able to act. It is a gift. I mean, Saoirse, she'll be interesting just her watching her eat cornflakes. There's a fascinating, literally, not funny, yeah, you know. But it's one of those things where she does something and it's so normal, but it's extraordinary. It's like, oh wow, that's amazing. She did the scene where she walks towards the window before she opens up, look up, and she put these keys down. Well, how she put the keys down was extra. I mean, it was perfection. Again, it's those things with artists do, which you cannot explain, but it's right. you recognize it immediately. You just recognize it. And I think what it was, okay, there's Elliott, there's George, but there has to be Rita, and George and Rita have to be the bond. This movie is about love, and these two have to have a kind of, there was a mutual connection, there was a mutual appreciation and a mutual sort of thing which reverberated on the screen. I mean, again, they very, again, I mean, maybe talking about them, but they really liked to be with each other, and it was wonderful to see, and we were very lucky to have that, because everything else is easy after that. If it's a flooding or the floods or this stunt or this particular scene, amazing, all going great, well, we could get through it, but you can't make genius. Genius is genius. You can't make them up. You could earn a scene, but you can't earn genius. You're just lucky to have it.
And how did the two of you, well, actually, when was the first time that you met? Because I know there was like a chemistry read of sorts.
Well, there wasn't really.
No? Okay.
You had the part, I'd just gotten the part, and we met in Work and Title's offices in London. And Elliott was so shy.
Aww.
And he wouldn't look at me and he wouldn't talk for ages, and boy, has that changed.
You would have been even shyer if you'd seen your movies, so maybe it's good.
Right, yeah, true, yeah. Yeah, I don't know, we chatted for a while, it was just the three of us and your dad, and that was it really, and then we did a couple of, I don't even know if we read the scenes that much, did we, Steve? I don't think we did.
No, we didn't. It was just this kind of, it was a jam.
Yeah.
And no pun intended, because Paul was there as well, Mr. Weller. Those who know, and who don't know. There you go. Two or three people laughing in the crowd. Paul Weller played the grandfather, and again, there was a gentleness and a tenderness about him. I mean, Paul is a beautiful man. He's just one of those. He's a genius musician, and he just came in, and this family unit. They loved being with each other. They loved hanging out. They just hung out. We didn't meet okay, maybe we read it once, and it was like, but they just played.
Yeah.
Because when you're reading something on the paper, it's a bit boring, yeah? Let's be honest. It's like, okay. But then they had the spiritual thing. They had the love. They had the sort of, I wanted to, it's not families. I wanted a beautiful family because sometimes families aren't like that. This Rita she is the breadwinner of the family to some extent. She's working in an ammunition factory. She's dealt with the fact that her mother died. She, in some ways, is looking after two people. Obviously, Elliott, her son, and her grandfather. She's dealing with his grief. There's so much going on. And again, to fast forward this, I mean, these women were the backbone of the country during the Second World War. They were the emotional and physical backbone. And then sending the child off to be evacuated. Then sort of working in a munitions factory, or aircraft and making things for the front. These women are never given that big screen. The images that you saw of them being in the factory and them being together as a workforce has never been put on cinema before. And you have to ask yourself why, because they are half of the sort of workforce which is supplying the war. I mean, they are. It's not if, it's not a but, it's not a maybe. And usually, unfortunately, in movies, they're either wives or people to have sex with, or crying, or someone giving someone a cup of tea. They're reduced to sort of nothing.
There's, I'm showing my...
Sorry, I went on a bit there.
None of you were alive when this movie took place, obviously. Were you sort of surprised to learn this story? I had no idea, and maybe this is my ignorance, but in America, I don't think we were taught that kids were sent away like this. Do people know this? Okay, so I'm dumb, okay. But how do you sort of prepare? Like, did you watch old movies? Did you, learn about that era?
I mean, it was something that I was aware of. I grew up learning about it to a certain extent, and there were definitely, I feel like there were series back in the day about kids being sent away, but it was always sort of quite twee, which was the way a lot of the movies and TV shows about the war were for a long time. It was sort of buying into that British spirit that's sort of there, sort of real, and it's sort of not as well. so I was aware of that, but I had no idea how many. And to learn about how families were being split up, siblings were being sent to different homes, and there was one woman who she wrote this book. Her name's Kitty something. It's called "I'll Take That One." Have you read about this book? I think it's called "I'll Take That One." And her 2 siblings were sent to the country from London, and her and her youngest sister were sent to one home, and her eldest sister was sent to another. And the older sister went to this really beautiful kind of manor and was treated so well and got this incredible education. She had a governess, like the whole thing. And so when it came time to her returning home, she didn't want to. And she went sort of begrudgingly, really. And as soon as she could leave the house, she never came back, and they never saw her again. So it ripped families apart in such a sort of fundamental way. And I think to learn more about that, about just the effects of the war that went on for generations, just even in that sense, it's so deep and it's still there. You know, this woman's still alive and she's never seen her sister since. So it was kind of tragic to learn about all that, for sure.
And Elliott, how did you sort of get ready for this role? What did you learn or read or watch? There's no wrong answer, I promise.
If there's no wrong answer, am I allowed to say nothing?
People fought and died for you to think nothing. That you earned it, mate.
Yeah.
It's called liberty.
But also the great thing about that, and to me that's exactly right, that he didn't do any research, because he is a child playing a child.
Yep.
And it was really important that this didn't feel like it was a forced performance in any way. Not that it ever would be in a Steve McQueen film, but there's so many performances by kids that you can see where it's almost like dialed up to the max. And that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah.
It's authentic and real, and it was up to all of us around him. Sorry, I'm talking about you like it was. I don't know if you feel this way, but we wanted to make sure that you were able to just be a kid as much as possible, because Elliott had so much to do on this movie. There was so much responsibility for him, but as much as possible, if he was able to just be a child while the cameras roll, that was your job, and he did it so brilliantly.
But I think also, the mad fun time.
Yeah.
All the time. It's like, am I working? All right, let's do it. I mean, sorry, he did all his own stunts.
Well,
The only thing he didn't do was in the wide shot when I break the spell. But the wide shot when he jumps off the train, that's the only thing you didn't do, because he wanted to do it. I said, no, you're not bloody doing it. every other thing in the movie, everything he did, everything else he did.
I asked you what your favorite part of making the movie was. Do you want to tell them?
The flood scene.
You like that? I was terrified for you and feeling bad for you, but you had a great time. And did you say it took days, maybe even weeks to shoot that?
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Look.
I was so interested in what you said. I'm sorry.
Couple days? It was like a week.
It was a week. It was a week in there. Yeah, we're a week in there.
I know this is primarily an audience of actors, but I do have to say, I mean, the costumes, the production design, everything in this movie is so beautiful. How much does that help you as actors to, put on those costumes and do that hairstyle to really, draw the line on the back of the leg is so telling, to really feel these characters?
I was thinking about that a few minutes ago when we spoke about just creating that space in the family home for us to just be, and there's no way we would have been able to feel as comfortable doing that if we didn't have the work of Adam Stockhausen. He's just one of the best production designers out there, and we had a whole backlot at Leavesden Studios that he turned into London streets, more than one, that were completely destroyed, and you felt like you had been dropped into history. It was incredible. And the same with the house. I mean, we had 2 separate floors, but within the floor you could roam around the house freely, and you started to know your way, and you became reconnected to all of the props and all of George's toys and little trinkets and the piano, and it was all so personal, and so it had so much history to it, and Jacqueline Duran, our costume designer, is just really is the best in the world, and I've been lucky enough to have worked with her since I was 12 years old, consistently throughout my whole career, and she has just been, talk about a sort of strong, incredible woman. She's just so brilliant and smart and kind, an incredibly kind woman and patient, and every single job that I've done with her, I've been so included in the process. I've been so valued as an actor, and you know, there's so many costume designers you'll work with, and they'll just be like, put that on, stand there, right, you're grand, and you don't really feel like you're able to embody who this person is through the clothes. But Jacqueline always really encourages you to have ownership over it, which is just incredible.
Ellie, did you like wearing the little suits?
My main costume, but there was some other costumes.
Yeah, they really made kids wear a lot of clothes back there. Was there anything that was hard for you, like a scene that where you know you have to cry or get upset? I would think that would be hard.
Don't tell them that time I pinched you really hard to cry. Don't tell them.
I'm gonna tell them. It's the jewelry shop scene, and I've just kicked the wood, and I'm sitting in that little corner, and Steve's telling me to cry, and I'm trying really hard. He's like, "Come on, do it, George, do it." I'm trying. And then eventually I get one little tear out, and then after that it's a lot easier. You get the first
But
one.
you've got to go back. We will rewind that tape then. This was prepped for a number of days, wasn't it? With your acting coach Simon and myself, and we talked. We knew it was coming. It was a bit of a dreaded day for you, wasn't it? Because to put yourself into a situation where you're feeling very sad. Again, you're a little older now, but at that time, it was difficult, and it was very emotional for you because you didn't want to, but you had to go. You went to a sad place, and you did this job for us, and we were very happy, very grateful to you for that. I mean, that was part of you learning what acting is, because you weren't sad, but you were just pretending to be, and you did a great job. You did a wonderful job.
Yeah.
We were.
And you were saying as well, Richard, that you found it, because this is the thing, the first experience you have when you have to be emotional on screen, especially when you're a kid. There's something, did you find there was something that kind of shifted? Because you said that to me the other day, that like, you felt like it was a little bit easier after that, and like you can just do it whenever now. Yeah, I think that's really good.
I think this may have been the scene. Didn't you tell me you had to think of something sad to kind of help you get there?
Yeah, I thought of my mum taking my PlayStation away.
Oh, God.
In fairness, I would cry too.
If I'd known that, more tears in the movie.
Well, again, I want to remind everyone this movie will be in theaters, I believe, November 1st.
November 1st. Please, if you can tell your friends to see it in the theater, because as you know,
have to.
it's a big picture.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, Apple.
any movie that's good will hold up on a smaller screen. But you all saw that and heard that. That was incredible. Thank you so much for being